الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا انه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله بلغ الرساله وادى الامانه ونصح الامه وكشف الامه وتركنا على المحجه البيضاء. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا وقدوتنا محمد بن عبد الله وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the gracious, the infinitely merciful, the owner and sustainer and initiator of the heavens and the earth, I bear witness indeed that there is no deity worthy of worship except He, and I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the Prophet. Dear brothers and sisters, one question that afflicts or has afflicted the human being ever since the dawn of creation is why? Why is such and such happening, right? And one of the most complex concepts, beyond complex, that is also the Muslims, we as Muslims have struggled with is the question of qadr, question of the divine decree. And the question of whether we can ever understand it, that it's not, this question is not a question that only Muslims have struggled with. In all of its flavors across the spectrum of philosophies and religions that struggle with why. And in a limited way, in a personal way, without having to talk philosophically about qadr, the divine decree, and whether we could ever understand the big questions about it. Questions such as, why evil? Why suffering? Why are kids in Africa dying out of hunger? What mistake did they have? In Syria, the Rohingya, the Uyghurs, why are they struggling? Why are they suffering that much? Isn't God merciful, right? And if He is really infinitely merciful, why is He permitting all of this to occur? This excessive, inexplicable, illogical suffering and evil. Philosophically, we call it the question of theodicy. And the question of theodicy, the evil, explaining evil, has actually caused many to leave religion altogether. It's perhaps the anchor, the cornerstone of atheism. The atheistic movement love this question because whenever they pose it, people get overwhelmed. They don't know how to tackle it because they lack the fundamentals, right? And they're not equipped. We need to get ourselves equipping people, especially young people, who know how to break down these questions. So it's one of the favorite questions for, as I said, atheists. These are big questions, but what about you and me on a personal level in our daily lives? Don't we go through little things and we never think, we would think, why am I sick for a long time? Why is Allah not answering my question? Why is it taking me a decade and a half to get married and everybody else is getting married? Why am I not as smart as Ahmed and Mustafa and Potomac? Why are they having an easy time in school and they get it and I'm horrible? Why did I grow up with a dark skin and I have to struggle with racism? Why am I having to grow up without a dad or a mom while everybody else can hug their dads and moms and have to be in a family that is extremely harsh? Why, right? In a limited way, we're always struggling. And this is one of the most common things that we struggle with, and the consequences of this. It takes a toll on us. And we become very bitter, very angry when we really push to find the answers. And when we struggle with not having the answers to the point where we even say, why is Allah not giving me the answer? Why didn't He just show me? Isn't it true? What if I tell you today? What if we actually had the answer? What if we can actually understand qadr? What if we can understand the purpose and the wisdom behind every evil thing or what we perceive to be evil? What if? That would be incredible, wouldn't it? Right? Is it possible? Many of us think it's impossible, but I can tell you something amazing. 33 centuries ago, it was actually possible to understand qadr. You say, what are you talking about? Right? I tell you that 33 centuries ago, an amazing conversation happened with qadr. You say, what? Qadr showed up? Yes. Qadr showed up and it's actually in the Quran. In the famous story that we all know, that we're supposed to read every Friday in Surah Al-Kahf, incredible, extraordinary encounter of Musa alayhi salam, a prophet of Allah, with Khadr. Actually, what we think is Khadr, right? Common interpretation. All we know about it is that he was a righteous man. Allah didn't even give him a name. Allah did not give him a name. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. We were very busy with wanting to identify ourselves with a name, with a title. Allah says none of that matters. Look at how Allah introduces amazing people. Nameless. Because it's not about who they are, it's about what they carry. That's what the mark that they've left. This man has become nameless. And all of the interpretations have been busy telling us who that figure might have been. Khadr, not Khadr, maybe it's the messenger of Allah, it's a prophet, that Khadr was a prophet of Allah. All this. How many interpreters, and some scholars with billions, few, you might have never read this, have said, what about seeing Khadr, that righteous man, as Qadr itself, in the form of a human being talking to us? Whoa, Qadr talking to me. Wouldn't you love Qadr to come to you and say, yeah, let's talk about what just happened. Let's just talk about what happened. Let me explain to you. Wouldn't you love that? Turns out there was a dialogue between the Prophet of Allah and Qadr. It doesn't happen that often because we're not going to understand Qadr. So what is the dialogue? Let us go and reflect on that dialogue. It's right there in the Quran, and we're encouraged to read that dialogue every time. Why? Because it has everything to do with our lives. To put us in that state of peace. What happens in that dialogue is amazing. Musa alayhi salam is a human being, a prophet nonetheless, but he had the same question you and I have. Why? And he had questions about Qadr. You know what Allah told him? Okay, leave whatever it is that you're doing. You're going to go on a journey to find the righteous man. Go meet him. What did Musa alayhi salam? He said in the dialogue with Allah, لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين أو أمضي حقبة. I will never cease. I'll never rest until I meet him. Look at this. Remember, whatever it takes for me to understand, because it's a struggle not to understand. You need to understand to an experience, to a journey of pain, of rigor, of exhaustion. And he said, I will not rest until I meet him. Command of Allah, I need to go learn it. And he undertook the journey with humility. And he took off on the journey, and eventually he met this righteous man. And their paths intersected by the decree, the qadr of Allah. And he was very happy. So what does he say? So Allah tells us, وَجَدَ عَبْدًا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. Allah says, Musa and the companion that he had with him, now, وَجَدَ عَبْدًا, it means to have service, spring of Allah. Wow, the highest station. Highest station. It's not the title we have in our mind. Servant of Allah. Rasulullah was honored and Allah called him the servant of Allah. He lived it. He lived it. Never sought fame, celebrity status. In fact, when the Bedouins used to show up in a meeting or in a gathering of Rasulullah, they would come from the desert, they would come and they would not even know who he is. They used to think Abu Bakr was Rasulullah, because he never sought to identify himself with even a mark. And here he is sitting with his friends, not on an elevated chair, none of that. They thought Abu Bakr was Rasulullah, and he was younger than Rasulullah. It wasn't. And he used to comfort people, telling them, I used to eat. Like somebody was shivering one time, trembling in front of Rasulullah. My mother used to eat dry meat. You know what dry meat is? So back then they didn't have refrigerators. Poor people couldn't buy meat all the time. So they had to buy meat once, little meat, and you had to dry it outside so that it stays fresh. My mom eats that. That's what I grew up on. Bread, dates, and occasionally that dry meat. Calm down. That's what Rasulullah. So Musa is happy. Found that righteous man, the signature of the man was there, and he understood. What did he tell him? First of all, Allah tells us what's special about that man. آتَيْنَاهُ رَحْمَةً مِنْ عِنْدِنَا وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. Two equalities for the qadr. That qadr, Qadr had two key qualities. What are they? He was bestowed upon from the rahmah of Allah. That Qadr is mercy. And number two is very knowledgeable. Have you ever thought Qadr is merciful, infinitely merciful, and infinitely knowledgeable? عَلَّمْنَاهُ مِنْ لَدُنَّا. From our knowledge we bestowed it on him, on Qadr. Have you ever thought when you're dealing with a situation like infinite knowledge, that event, that trial that has infinite knowledge behind it, and infinite mercy? That's Qadr according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then what happens? Musa is asking the question, هل أتبعك على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا? Can I please follow you? So if you can teach me from the sound wisdom that you have. What does Qadr Qadr respond with? You say you want to follow me? You know he's a prophet of Allah. قال إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. No, you cannot be patient. Think about it. Qadr is telling Musa, a prophet of Allah, who spoke to Allah, you're not going to be patient. What does that mean? You're going to see things that you can never understand. You're going to be very confused. You're going to be angry. You are not going to be patient. For sure, you're going to see contradictions, things that make no sense, and you're going to question them, and you think you're going to be patient, but you're not going to be patient. That's a statement from Musa, a prophet, one of the best messengers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What did Musa say? Please, I'll go with you. I'll be patient. He thought he'll be patient. But patience is a concept. In theory, it's easy. You gotta take the journey. You cannot just be patient. You gotta take the steps and experience it and develop what's called gnosis, the knowledge of the experience of. It's not gonna be attained from the outside. And Qadr was telling him, you're not gonna be patient. I assure you, you're not gonna be patient. He begged him, please take me. He said, sure, I'll take it on one condition. That is element. Don't ask me a single question about anything that you see until what? I explain it to you. Until later. But if you ask me on the spot, you violated the condition. So they took off and they went on the first event. They went on the shore and they found the ship. Qadr told Musa, let's get on the ship. Don't ask questions. They got on the ship and it was a bunch of poor people. Four simple people who own this ship. And that's how they earn their provision. Now they got hosted on the ship. That was a righteous act. They saw these two amazing people, two sheikhs, and right? They might have known even Qadr, Allah knows. But please, come on. They're good people. Come on, join us. We'll take you wherever you want to go. They're happy. They join them. They get on the ship, and as soon as they settle into the ship, and the ship is sailing to sea, what does Qadr do? In front of Musa, he gets up, grabs the hammer or whatever tool he had, and he punctures the ship. Meets a flaw in it, a defect, a hole. That was damage. Musa's looking at it. What did you just do? Right? Oh my God! لقد جئت شيئا إمرا. Qadr, you just did something really bad. Qadr is looking at him, telling him, you're not telling me you're not going to be patient. Musa recognized, I just claimed I'm going to be patient. I saw the first contradiction. What is it? These people welcomed us on the ship. Four simple people did a charitable thing. And what is this companion that I'm supposed to learn from? Who? Harm them by damaging their ship. Qadr is upset, but he said, please forgive me. I'm not going to do it again. Right? I did lose patience. I am sorry. Right? And he held his tongue. But what was his emotion? He was upset. He was confused. He was overwhelmed. He's trying to make sense of it, and it didn't make sense. Now, the shipmen, did they know? No idea. But then they discover after they leave the ship. So they went on and they let them go. Now, afterward, what happened? Fast forward. And Musa is itching to understand what happened, only to be surprised by the next event. While they're walking in the shore again, after they got offloaded from the ship, they find the boy, young little boy. And what does Qadr do? He takes a knife and flashes. Allah knows what tools he must have had, but he kills. He kills the young boy. What happens to him? That really for good. He's like, what did you just do? He was horrified. Horrified by the criminal act he just observed, where the blood of a boy was spilled. And he says to him, not Imra, لَقَدْ جِئْتَ شَيْئًا نُكْرًا. You committed an egregious, obscene crime, accusing what? Qadr. He responds back in this da'wah by saying, I told you. And Musa recognizes I really messed up. He said, I swear, I promise you, if I ask you a question again, part ways with you. And he's still holding on. Like, what just happened? Right? They take off. And in that long journey, they end up in a town. And the town was full of mean people. Mean people were stingy, unhospitable. And Musa entered into the town, and they asked for something that was common in the country. These hostels, food, something, right? And they feel like, we have nothing to do with you. So while they're going about, walking in the town, the story. Qadr finds a wall that appeared to be defective. He's about to take it down. So he says, Musa, come with me. And he starts to renovate the wall. And it took a lot of work. And Musa is working with him. Musa lost it again. But the question, why are we doing this again? Because these people are really mean and you're rewarding them by fixing the wall? What does Qadr say? Over. That's it. Journey is over. Musa must have been like, oh. Right? 3 times. As human beings. Musa couldn't handle it. How about you and me? Right? Thinking that we can have patience. In an attempt to understand the contradictions of the fire, it is not possible. So Al-Khadr proceeds to explain to them. Qadr is explaining. That's why I said it is possible if Qadr spoke to us. And he said, let me explain to you what's happening. You're not patient. You might have seen more. But let me explain to you what's happening. As for the ship, these were 4 people who owned it. But what you didn't know, Qadr is telling you, you didn't see it with your eyes, behind the veil is a king who seizes every ship he comes across. Even the shipmen didn't know. And I made a flaw so that when this king and his soldiers come into this ship, they find the flaw and they say, nope, we're not going to take this ship. Now the question is, did the people of the ship know that? They didn't know. They had no idea that there was a king was about to seize their, so when they recognized that there was a defect, they were like, oh my God, these people just wrecked our ship. What an oppression, what an injustice. So they thought it was an evil act. But a few hours later, when the king showed up and he said, I'm not taking this, what did they say? So that was an evil whose good they discovered later. Allah showed it. How often does it happen in our lives when we think something is evil, something is really bad? You like got late for an appointment. You're like, oh my goodness, I missed the bus. And then you discover the bus had an accident. I thought that was evil, that was bad. Until I learned that the plane actually fell. Alhamdulillah, Allah saved it. So Allah reveals to you that the evil wasn't evil. But these people didn't have Qadr to explain to them. Qadr didn't explain to them. So what should they have done at the time when they recognized that somebody did that to their ship? They should have said Alhamdulillah. Before what? The king showed up. That's what faith is. It was good. It wasn't evil because it was a decree of Allah. It was Qadr. But Qadr explained it to Musa. They didn't explain it to and the logical thing should have been that the Qadr explained it to the shipment. But that's not how life works. As for the next one, as for the boy, he says, this boy, his parents were righteous people. And this kid, if he grew older, Qadr knows it. Qadr was granted knowledge of everything. If he grew older, he would have been rebellious. He would have turned into a source of trouble for his criminal. A thug. Like he would have exhausted him from his rebellion. Qadar only knew that. Allah knows. The parents didn't know. So Allah worked through Qadar to take out this boy and save him from himself. And then later, Allah blessed him with another child. Now I want to ask you, the murder, how did it feel for the parents when they discovered their boy got killed? That's the greatest tragedy. They didn't know. This kid was going to grow older. If he grew older, he's going to become a really nasty kid. He's going to cause all sorts of trouble. Right? They had no idea. Qadar didn't explain it. But did they ever know? Like the four owners of the ship, they never knew. They lived their whole life and then they had a second child and they were happy, but the sadness is still in their hearts. They died thinking that was a tragedy. So Allah never revealed to them that that evil was the best thing for them. They didn't know. When will they know? When they meet Allah. And they're going to say, still, Alhamdulillah. It was perfect. And Allah noticed, save even the child for himself because the child is not going to be accountable. As for the third, he told him the wall of that town had a treasure. And the treasure belonged to two orphans. And the orphans, their dad was righteous, died. And the people of the town, you've seen how greedy they are. If that wall fell, they would have seized the treasure and took the wealth of the two orphans. Allah saved them by sending who? A prophet, right? And Qadar. Al-Qadar, to save them, they keep never knew. They're orphans. So they resurrected the wall such that it would fall at the time when they're able. When they gained strength, somehow he timed it. Qadar timed it so that the fix was enough, sufficient to last until they grew older, and then it fell, but they were able now to protect their pleasure. The inheritance from their dad. Why did that happen, by the way? Because their dad was good. And I always tell parents who are worried about their children, and their kids are older, if you can do nothing with your children, be righteous, be cheery. Allah will bring others to help your child. Why? Always be. And Allah told us to just be righteous. Do not do anything else with your children. Be righteous and be charitable. Allah will protect your children. Allah sent a prophet and Al-Qadar to protect. The children never knew. So Allah protected them from an evil without them knowing. So there are many evils right now that you're being protected from. I'm being protected without even knowing. Because he didn't know that Al-Qadar and Musa showed up in their lives. They were kids. He never saw it. They just got the treasure later. But they never knew that an evil was about to happen to them. But Allah conceals it completely in a very subtle and mysterious way. That Al-Qadar says, this is the interpretation of the events you are not patient with. Ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to make us content with Qadar and to understand that we can never understand Qadar. But to surrender to Allah Azza wa Jalla, knowing that Qadar is the best thing. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. How amazing of a dialogue was it, right? And the summary of it is, you'll never understand that. To even attempt to understand it, automatically, is a failure. Why? Because Qadar is the calculation of Allah, the infinite. And the infinite wisdom of Allah can never be comprehended by the finite, minute intellect of the human. So that's what Allah telling you. But you never be patient. You're going to lose it if you attempt to explain it. Sometimes it's evident. Allah will show you. Most of the time, He will not show you. Why? As a test. You never understand. So if you battle with it, you're going to be in pain. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to be worn out. You're going to start to challenge Allah Himself. How would a mind so limited and try to understand the infinite knowledge of Allah? We've seen in the story how an evil was never evil. Whatever it is that is afflicting your brother, it's so confusing, so overwhelming, so painful. You're asking why? It's perfect. You know, the owners of the ship shouldn't have just been patient. When they saw the hole, they could have been like, oh, you gotta be patient. Why? Allah says, no, she should have made sujood of shukr. No, not content. She shouldn't have been content or patient. Automatically, from that trial, they should be like, Alhamdulillah, this is amazing. It's perfect. Let's make sujood and thank Allah. How many of us can do that? Because it's not just okay. It is perfect. It's the best thing. Illness, lost a job, have no kids, whatever it is, problems happen. You feel like an injustice happened. Perfect. And one day Allah will remove the veil for you and say, what do you think? You'll be like, wow, can I make sujood right now? For that trial, Allah says you should have surrendered. Ibn al-Qayyim says, every decree from Allah has infinite good embedded in it for you. Every trial, every painful thing, every confusing thing that happens, all the things that we would complain and say, oh, Allah, just help me with this. Sure, ask Allah. He says there's infinite good embedded in it for you because Allah loves you. But you're going to get that good in relation to what? Your good opinion of Allah. Meaning, surrender to Allah and say, I'm not just going to be patient. I'm going to be like, wow, dancing out of joy right now. Alhamdulillah, because it's from Allah. And Allah is good. And Allah is more merciful with me than my own mother. And Allah is gentle. It is impossible. Because Allah says in the Quran, you might think something is evil, but it's good. And you might think something is good, but it's evil. Give it to Allah. Qadr tells you, you're not going to understand it. Surrender. Say, it's perfect. I don't have to understand it. Many of us think we have to understand. You're not going to understand. Leave it to Allah. Leave it to Allah. It's perfect. And on the spot, you should be like, what? Let me make sujood right now. Shukr, because the good that is coming my way is amazing. My dear brother Richard, sitting here, shared with me a quote in our halaqah with his art, right? Yeah. Who said there's something amazing that sums up this qadr. You know, life can only be understood backwards, but has to be lived forward. See, Musa, if he was patient, and patience from Allah, he should have just hung in there. After the events happen, you can connect the dots. But looking forward, you cannot understand. You got to go for it. But all of life cannot be understood until you exit life when Allah removes the veil. And Allah tells you, Alhamdulillah, you're going to be very happy. But those who failed here by complaining and despairing, they never understood Islam. Islam is surrender. Rida, contentment. You notice that you have peace and you say, Alhamdulillah, it's amazing. Allah loves you because you just trusted in Him without Him showing you. Because if He showed you, it's too late. It's too late. We didn't pass it. But this is that's what peace is. Surrender to Allah. Allah, when anything happens, you say, Alhamdulillah, right? Then Alhamdulillah, Allah, you're amazing. I'm like, can't wait to see what you have in store for me. I'm not going to pretend to understand it. Because your decree is amazing, it's perfect, it's knowledgeable, and it's beyond me. But I can't wait in the next world to just sit back and just with a cup of coffee look and say, wow, Allah is amazing. Everything. Perfect. Wallahi perfect. But Allah asks us to surrender. And I conclude with this. This is when you arrive at the beautiful, beautiful conclusion of the Just finished in our halaqah Sunday morning. Where Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nafsu mutmainnah. Oh, soul of peace, surrender. Trust in Allah's calculation. Qadr. Come back to your Lord. Come back to your master that you trusted. The big deal to trust Allah. Notice Allah says, no refuge. No refuge. Come back because you're in peace. You're tranquil here because you're content. You're praising Allah. You're thankful for these decrees. You never complain. Never. And if you complain, you repented to Allah, right? You got up and said, Allah, forgive me for being ignorant. We're going to make mistakes. It's okay. But we got to learn. And that's why we remind each other. Come back to your Lord. Radiyah, mardiyah. Notice the description. Content. You can be very content today because you were content with Allah here. مرضية, and Allah will make you content. Enter now into the righteous company of those who trusted. Enter my God. You're with Allah because you always love Allah, you always trusted and surrendered to Allah. The gift of Allah, that's it, that's Islam. The hardest thing to live. But remind each other, remind yourself of this. Because this is easy to speak about, hard to live. But you know how you live it? Right now, think of any child that you have, and after the salah, just make sujood for it. Or make, as you make sujood in the next salah, which is the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say, alhamdulillah, Allah for them. Ya Allah, I don't have to understand. I'm going to attempt. It's perfect. I can't wait. Enough that you understand, that you know it, that you decreed it. I'm looking forward to the day when you reveal it to me. Make me content and have me the patience with it. Because patience is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One final thing I want to show you. I want you to live with an analogy. Guess what I have? I have a Rubik's Cube. Now I didn't solve this, my son. He's really good. So, thinking about this, a friend of mine told me, he was like, draw a Rubik's Cube. I don't want to mess it up because I'm not sure how to solve it back. But he started playing with it. I don't know how they solve this, right? And I said, how do you do this? My son was doing this. How do you do this? He's like, it was 40, 50 seconds is done. When I'm doing the moves, my son is doing the moves, I have no idea what he's doing. It's random. Until what happens, he solves it. You thought those who are not experienced with it think it's random. Every little move is random. But the one doing it, Qadar, is calculating it based on a formula. The ones who solve this have a formula. Specific move, they memorize until they deliver the solution finally. And then you say, whoa! I'm going to show you this for your life. You think it's random? You think it has no purpose and meaning? It's a Rubik's Cube. I say your life is a Rubik's Cube. Wallahi, brothers and sisters. You're going to be waiting, as I said, to look at this perfect rendition of your life. And my life and say, alhamdulillah, nobody could have done that. So leave you with this image, maybe for reminder, inshallah. Maybe put a Rubik's Cube in your car, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, to make us content with his decrees and with his qadar. Ask Allah to make us among those who surrender to him. And we have trust in his decrees and his planning, and to understand that Allah can never plan or decree anything for us except that it's good, it's perfect. To recognize that qadar is beyond us, and that in the knowledge of Allah, everything is amazing and good for the believer. Ask Allah to make us trust in his mercy. Ask Allah to surround us with his. May Allah surround us with your rahmah. Bestow upon us, Ya Allah, your blessings and your grace, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, bless our families, protect our children, our parents, grant us faith, Ya Allah. Join us with the right. Grant us wisdom, Ya Allah, to understand, Ya Allah, that we can never understand your wisdom, Ya Allah. Grant us, Ya Allah, the patience so that we don't hasten those things that you have postponed, nor seek to postpone those things that you have hastened, Ya Allah. Make us perfectly content. Grant us, Ya Allah, those thankful souls that are so happy and content with your decrees, the real believers, the real Muslims, Ya Allah, who walk with faith, who walk with humility, who walk with compassion, who walk with serenity. And make us among the souls that are summoned by you, Ya Allah, when you say, Ya ayyatuha an-nafsu al-mutma'inna, irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyyah. Fadkhuli fi ibadi wa khuli bi ni'matika. Ya Allah, when the souls that will hear your call when you pass away, all soul of peace, come back to your Lord, come back to your Maker, contented and contented by the one, Allah.